It's a great day to be a fan of the new Pac-12, and another move might be on the way.
You are Locked On College Football with Spencer McLaughlin, your daily podcast on all things college football. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Locked On College Football. I'm your host, Spencer McLaughlin. Thank you all so much for making this your first listen or your first view every day. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, your daily source to stay up to date with the biggest stories in this, the greatest sport on planet Earth, which has games tonight. Nebraska-Cincinnati, talked about that on yesterday's show, that game being played at Arrowhead Stadium. I like Nebraska. What about the Colorado-Georgia Tech game? What about the LSU-Clemson game? I'll have picks for all that, and Auburn Baylor on today's show. But we start before the 2025 season totally officially kicks off with week one. The Pac-12 can look ahead to next fall and say, we are set. The CW is going to be the second primary media rights partner. There could be another one in the fold for the Pac-12 starting next year. This is great news for two reasons. Number one, you ensure, what is it? You have a deal. You have a contract, you have an agreement, and your fans are going to be able to watch the games. Number two, this ensures the visibility of the league remains relevant. You're going to have your conference championship game for football and for a couple other sports as well, men's and women's basketball, air on CBS in the Paramount Plus app. You want to have people able to access your games. Going into the 2026 season, I know 2025 is here, but this is a really big deal. Going into that year, and frankly, it starts right now for the Pac-12, you've got to be able to win over the public. You've got to be able to win the battle of public perception, because that's going to matter a great deal in the long run. It's a little thing. Nothing is everything. Everything is something in the fight to make sure that when your conference champion emerges each year, they have the best possible chance of making the playoff. That's the ultimate goal. That's the ultimate upside for the teams that are joining this league. And I think that's the appeal for the teams joining this league. And I'll get to UNLV and the mistake that I think they made in just a moment. But the appeal of going into the Pac-12 is, hey, if we win that league, boy, us against the American champ, we're going to have a great chance to go ahead and make the college football playoff as the highest ranked Group of Five conference champion. So that's the big appeal. If people can't watch your games, if people are having a negative perception of your games, you have to do everything you can if you're the Pac-12, and they're doing a darn good job. Teresa Gold, boy, I'm sure plenty of people are thinking about what might have happened had she been the commissioner at a different point in time, but you can't cry over spilled milk. You got to go buy a new jug at the store. Well, they've got a gallon of milk that is mostly full. There might be one more broadcast partner in the fold, but for them to be in the position where they are at with widespread distribution, with being on legitimate networks, this is a really, really good outcome overall for the Pac-12. I do want to note, after watching Pac-12 games last year, of course, they had some programming. They'll have some more for football games this season, and they're continuing the CW to expand their sports programming arm. They need to get better cameras out to these places. There were way too many times I watched games last year, and it was in the ACC, frankly, as well. I don't know if it was a CW problem or what was going on. I don't know. I don't know all the technical workings of why it resulted, but I just know that you saw it that way, and you don't want people tuning into your games and going, what in the world is this product? Do we not have high-definition cameras here? That needs to improve. I'm sure it will, because the CW is making a legitimate, real, tangible commitment to being a player in the sports broadcasting landscape, because they realize what everybody else already knows. Hey, this is the only thing people watch in real time. TV shows, they're all being streamed. So what exactly does that leave us? Live sports. So that part does need to improve. I wonder if Turner winds up getting involved, because they're reportedly poking around. There's reportedly going to be a call with the Pac-12 and ESPN to see if there's any sort of partnership that they could work out there. But the CW and CBS gives you distribution, gives you visibility. Those are two really good, tangible things for the Pac-12. There are rumors that perhaps a streaming partner could get involved. If that bolsters the financial prospect per school for the league, then I think that's worth exploring when you have the other two primary cable partners. I know cable TV doesn't have the greatest reputation at the moment. It still matters a whole heck of a lot, and it's how you're going to reach the most people at this point in time. So as long as this deal per school winds up being, I think, at least $8 million, 8 to 12 are the estimates that have been reported a couple of different places about what the media deal will pay per school. I think that you can not just feel solid compared to your G5 counterparts about the financial situation you're putting your schools in, pending the litigation with the Mountain West, of course. You also, though, could perhaps make a stronger appeal to go to a Memphis, a UTSA, a school that we're not talking about a lot that I'm not naming here, and say, hey, do you want to be a football-only member? UTSA would be the ideal choice in my book. Would they go for it? I don't know. If you could offer them more money than what they currently have in the American, maybe they'd go for it. Maybe the exit fees would be too much. It would make it a moot point. Of course, the American has a great television deal as well, and they're playing in a really good competitive conference. But I think this deal makes it more likely that the Pac-12 can go out and get a football-only member. I think they should. We know that's not going to be UNLV. But I think if you can find another school to ensure you have an 8-game conference slate that ensures you a certain level of strength of schedule, because you are in a perception battle with the American Conference or any other Group of 5 team that wants to go to the playoff each year, you've got to win every single one of those battles that you can. I think ensuring you get a quality team like a UTSA on your schedule each year into your conference as a football-only member, that would be a massive win. But UNLV's athletic director recently, I believe it was the AD, took a shot a little bit at the Pac-12. I didn't really read it that way. You know, he said, the Pac-12 isn't what it used to be, which is, of course, true. The only reason I think UNLV is staying in the Mountain West is because Gloria Nevarez pulled a master stroke of negotiation and offered them a huge sum of money to stay there to help with less than ideal, shall we say, financial situation within the UNLV athletic department. So I don't see what other reason there would be to stay there, because the Mountain West is still, working to figure out what their full media rights deal is going to be. You've got the necessary distribution and visibility that you want with the Pac-12 media deal that is reportedly, but we don't know yet, going to be worth in the $8 to $12 million range per school. Even if UNLV were to dilute that a bit, I don't see how the Mountain West, you'd have to go undefeated and probably have a decent, at least Power 4 non-conference win to compete against the American and Pac-12 conference champs to get yourself into the college football playoff. I just don't see how, being from an athletic standpoint, UNLV say, nope, we want to be here. The Pac-12's not what it used to be and all that whatnot. You want to stay in the Mountain West? The New World Mountain West? I mean, you're running third at best as a football conference once the 2026 season kicks off. And you had an opportunity. I think the UNLV athletic department, I hope the money was worth it, because I think they're going to look back pretty soon and say, this was not the right place for us to be in the short term. Now, staying in the Mountain West, they don't face a penalty to leave one day if a Power 4 invite arrives. Do you have a better chance of getting that in the Pac-12 or in the New World Mountain West? I guess time will tell. But, man, from just a pure athletic standpoint, I think it was a massive mistake by UNLV, because there's one conference that is going to be rated and viewed correctly as significantly better than the other once these two leagues sort themselves out come 2026. And, I mean, the Mountain West is going to be competing with, frankly, the Sun Belt to be the third best 5 league, and I think there might be a touch below where the Sun Belt is at. I think they could be above, where the MAC or Conference USA are, maybe, depending on the season. Like, I don't know, the Pac-12 is just going to be a significantly stronger league. But cementing the deal, more peace of mind for Pac-12 fans, confidence and assurance that the league is going to go forward the way that you'd like to. It's not the best situation, but once you spill the milk, go to the store, get another gallon, move on. Might not be the brand exactly that you want, but you got to make the best of a bad situation here. I think that's what the Pac-12 was doing. So, good day for the Pac-12. It's not going to be a good day for Colorado. First, this episode brought to you by Upside. Locked On College Football fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use my limited time promo code FOOTBALL and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You could make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already needed. At first, I thought it was too good to be true, but it's totally legit. Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Don't let this offer drive by. Download the free Upside app now using my limited time promo code FOOTBALL for a limited 25 cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code FOOTBALL. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Check out the Upside app today. This episode also brought to you by our friends at Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Do you need parts fast for a project? Supply House has next day delivery. Talk about a game changer. So whether you are looking for plumbing, HVAC, or electrical items, Supply House has got you covered. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Georgia Tech, Colorado on Friday night. Man, I'm talking about the other Friday night game later in the show. That's Auburn and Baylor. Couple of dynamite non-conference battles. SEC, Big 12, Big 12 ACC. I think Baylor gets the win. I'll tell you why later on the show, but I think Georgia Tech goes into Boulder and wins this game for a couple of reasons. Number one, Haynes King has been in this offensive system for a couple of seasons now, knows exactly what he has to do. He's got Jamal Haynes back there at running back. Yes, they lose Eric Singleton. I'd feel better about Auburn, or he's at Auburn now. I'd feel better about Georgia Tech's chances coming into this game if they had Eric Singleton there. But then you remember, well, they're bringing a stud transfer from FIU at wide receiver. And is this a team that's rooted in the passing game? No, that's right. They're rooted in the rushing attack. Georgia Tech last year ran for about 180 yards a game. Colorado surrendered about 150 per. Now, these are different teams. I think Coach Livingston did a really good job upgrading Colorado's defense a season ago. That's still a team that I don't think they're quite. I have Colorado as a pullback team coming into this season. I think as a program, they can be completely fine. I think in 2026, if they have a strong offseason, they can go into that year, in my view, as a contender for the Big 12 championship. I don't think they are that this year. I think Caden Salter is closer to a bridge quarterback than a guy that's going to elevate you to the top third of a conference that has incredible competitive depth. But for this game in particular, Georgia Tech, who I don't think is sneaking up on anybody anymore. I hear a lot more national chatter about them all over the place. If Colorado cannot slow down or really take away the Georgia Tech run game, they're just going to struggle. I really think they're going to struggle in this game. I like Georgia Tech's talent. I like who they have coming back. I think Brent Key is a really, really good coach. And though I think Livingston's done a good job with the Colorado defense and making it better over the last for last season, I don't believe that Colorado is suddenly prepared to go against a team that is several years in. This feels, if we knew then what we know now, this would feel like a building towards year. Georgia Tech in the modern world might be a window program. We'll see what Brent Key's able to do. But if I'm right about that, this would be the window sort of year for Georgia Tech to go out and compete for an ACC championship, to try and make the college football playoff. I think they've got the roster to do it. I think they've got an experienced quarterback to do it who's not playing the first game in a new system. That is what Caden Salter is going to be doing for Colorado. Yes, I love Colorado's wide receivers. And I mean, boy, anytime you have the opportunity to give praise to Colorado's offensive line, you got to hesitate, right? You got to catch the words before they fully get out of your mouth and go, oh, wait, hold on. Do I want to do that? Do I really want to praise them? Look, they've brought in some dudes. Xavier Hill from Memphis, really good addition for the Buffs out of the portal. Jordan Seaton has got a college football experience under his belt, former 5-star recruit. All right, they can be pretty good. Are they ready to go up against Georgia Tech? I guess we're going to find out on Friday night in Boulder. The good news for the Buffs, they get this game at home. That crowd, it is going to be sold out. It is going to be on fire. Coming off of a 9-win season last year, as it should be. The fans in Boulder are exceptional. I think it's going to be a great college football scene. I can't wait to watch it. I just cannot get behind in my head. If Colorado proves me wrong, hey, good for you. Good for you going out and making a real statement early in this year that this will not be a regression season for the Buffs. But I, in good conscience, as someone who is going to actually pick this game, and I'll get to my score here in just a moment, I'm not going to go out on a limb and say, this is the time Colorado just shuts down the rushing attack. No, I don't think this looks like the Nebraska game on the road last year, which turned out to be a pretty ugly loss for the Buffs early in the season. But I do think this will be a game that Georgia Tech wins. I think they go into Boulder. I want to double check the over-under real quick according to our friends at FanDuel, because I'm curious how many points they don't see a lot of points in this game either. 52.5. Georgia Tech is favored by 4.5 points. I will take the Yellow Jackets to win. I will take them to cover. I don't think there are a ton of points in this game. I think it's going to squeak. Veteran quarterback Caden Salter's experience, just not with Colorado yet. I think it'll squeak towards the over. I will take 31-24. I like Georgia Tech to go into Colorado and get the win. Another marquee game in college football this week. Let's pivot to the ACC favorite, Clemson, my preseason number 1 team in the conference, and LSU. Nobody in college football, except for maybe Hugh Freeze, needs a win more than Brian Kelly at LSU. The downside is LSU, who I'm applauding, again, because that's what I do here at Locked On College Football. When teams play legit non-conference games that no one forced them to schedule, but they realize, hey, we want to go out and prove we can play with the best. We want to go out and prove that we can, that we don't need to have a soft schedule to backdoor our way into the playoff. You know what? Thumbs up. Not everybody sees the sport that way. That's why teams shouldn't control their non-conference scheduling slate, but I digress. LSU needs this game more than Clemson. The problem is I just like Clemson more. Now, here's the interesting thing. This is the biggest matchup to watch in this game. You've got a couple of veteran quarterbacks who are 2 of my 5 favorites in the country. Garrett Nussmeier at LSU needs to protect the ball a little bit better. Cade Klubnik at Clemson, sure, at times maybe needs to, but not to the same extent that Nussmeier needs to protect the ball better. Both of those guys are proven, talented commodities. 2 of the most proven quarterbacks in all of college football this year. You don't have, amongst the upper echelon of teams, a lot of quarterbacks that you go, oh, I know what that guy is. Oh, I know how good he is because I've watched him do it for multiple seasons. These guys fit that bill. I like Garrett Nussmeier a lot. I like Cade Klubnik a lot. The team that wins this game is going to be the team that makes the other quarterback more uncomfortable, gets him off his spots, gets him into a couple of turnover-worthy situations, capitalizes on 1 or 2 of those spots, be it a fumble or an interception. That's what I think this game comes down to. It is a close line. It is a close line. It is Clemson minus 3.5. I'm going to swallow that and take the favorite Clemson Tigers here as well. This is a great Tigers matchup because, man, you've got 2 really good teams, and both have playoff expectations. I think Clemson has slightly higher aspirations on the upper end. We'll see what Brian Kelly can do with a top-ranked transfer portal class, but Peter Woods at Clemson, how big of an impact can you have? Whit Weeks and Harold Perkins for LSU, can you get to Cade Klubnik enough? Once you answer that question, I think you're going to be able to tell me who wins this game. They're the traditional things like running the ball and converting on third down or fourth down. Yeah, situational football is always going to be big. I only need to know two things to know who's going to win this football game. Which quarterback has been sacked and pressured combined more than the other guy in this game? Number one, and number two, who wins the turnover battle? You tell me those two things, you're going to be able to tell me, I think pretty confidently, who winds up winning this football game. But I can't wait. I would like to thank LSU and Clemson for giving us such a wonderful Week 1 matchup, because it's one that we're all looking forward to in what is a great, not a good, a great Week 1 slate of college football games. I can't wait. Drop your predictions for Colorado, Georgia Tech, and LSU Clemson in the comments below. Auburn is favored. I think they should be. I also think they're going to lose. First, this episode brought to you by Game Time. College football is back. I couldn't be more excited. You probably feel the same way. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's nothing like it. But let's be real, actually getting tickets to the game can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout. It can be a nightmare. That is why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. I've used Game Time on several occasions myself. I got a great deal. I knew what to expect. I wasn't slapped with surprise fees at the end of the checkout process, which bothers the crap out of me. Game Time allows you to not deal with that particular mental hurdle. And the process was simple as well, because I got the tickets delivered to my phone, didn't have a problem. I've used it on several occasions, and it's gone great. So you should check out Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, LOCKEDONCollege, all one word, for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. I like Baylor to beat Auburn as an underdog in Waco this week. Zac Blackerby of Locked On Auburn cannot enjoy hearing that. I'll lay out my thinking, Blackerby, before you jump all over me here.
Okay.
I like that Baylor is at home. Oh, you're so welcome.
I'm already having a good time.
I know. I bet you are so happy you agreed to do this, but you're contractually obligated at some level. So, first of all, at home in Week 1, when you are going to have a sloppy, I expect, tight game because not everyone is in the middle of the season yet. They haven't worked out all the kinks. I like having the home crowd behind you. That's number one. Number two, I trust Sawyer Robertson more than I trust Jackson Arnold. And number three, this one's closer because I know everybody's riding the Dave Aranda hype train because of how they finished last year. I'm not someone who forgets the first half of seasons. You know, they finished on a W6 in the regular season, but they started 2-4. I was there for that part too. I trust Dave Aranda a little more than Hugh Freeze. That one's like 52-48 at this point. So that's the foundation of my reasoning why I like Baylor to win this week, even though Hugh Freeze really needs this game.
Yeah, I definitely think Auburn needs it more than Baylor does. I think Baylor can achieve more of their goals this season with a loss. With Auburn, I think it's a pretty ridiculously tough uphill battle if they drop it. Not impossible, but it's significantly tougher if they lose it Friday. To me, I think the biggest difference and what Auburn needs to kind of show and play the card over and over and over again is talent. I mean, they show up on all the good, rankings when it comes to consistent recruiting rankings, transfer portal, and the blue chip ratio. Some people are really into that. And when it comes to talent, Spencer, it's not close. And in fact, in pretty much every position, you take Auburn. And if you want to say Baylor has a better quarterback than Auburn, I'm not going to push back on that at all. But those two guys aren't on the field at the same time. Like Jackson Arnold and Sawyer Robertson aren't playing against each other. But when you look at what Sawyer Robertson's throwing into, I think it's a much tougher situation than what Jackson Arnold will be throwing into, as well as, what Baylor's running backs going to be running into and Jackson Arnold's running backs are going to be running into. I just think, I think from a matchup standpoint, in the matchups that typically define football games, on paper, which is all we can do right now, on paper, I think Auburn does have the edge here.
I think it's understandable why they're favored. Like that's not the part that surprises me,
because they weren't favored like a month ago. Like for the bulk of the offseason.
Well, but then SEC media days happen.
Well,
if you look at the number
doesn't make sense though. The timing
doesn't. No, none of it makes sense. Why did SEC teams move up in ESPN's FPI and ACC teams got moved down when no major roster changes happen after media days? It's just
okay. I thought you were alluding to Malcolm Simmons stuff, because that's
no, not
shows. It's like, Malcolm Simmons, like he didn't move the line 3 points. That's crazy.
No. That's not what I'm getting at. I just think that as you think and talk about this stuff more, and as it gets put out there, I think a lot more money comes in on one particular side. The FPI thing is just weird.
It the other way, though, right? That's what you're saying. Right?
No,
because
I'm saying I'm
moved up.
Yeah, I think that those sorts of hypothetical matchups, I think post SEC media days on paper have shifted in the SEC's favor in a number of ways. Meaning that people were saying, "Wait a minute, Auburn plus 1.5."
I think I'm going to put after that though. I think the line moved towards Baylor after that.
But Baylor was favored at one point in time, and it is now Auburn minus 2.5.
Correct.
Going into the game. That's
correct.
what I'm saying.
The timeline on that is off, but that part is correct.
Okay, so I just think that I don't think that there's a huge gap.
It's a weird matchup. It's a weird matchup, and a lot of the national folks are saying Auburn. ESPN's ESPN analytics percentages give Baylor like 52%, which this is close. What's interesting is both sides are so confident. And I don't know if either side really has like the full footing to be confident, if I'm being 100% honest with you. But both sides are, which has the makings for an incredible matchup on Friday night to really get the college football season going.
Yeah, I think this, along with Colorado, Georgia Tech that I talked about earlier on the show, is such an outstanding Friday night slate, and reaction shows from both of those games will be up here on this feed as soon as humanly possible on Friday night. And I'm not just saying that because I technically work for the guy I'm talking to right now, but I think that in this game, Zach,
what do you mean technically? Why was that needed?
Well, my paycheck doesn't come in every month from Zac Blackerby.
No, it doesn't. Thankfully, it does.
Yeah, or I wouldn't be living in this apartment by myself right now.
Sure,
I'd have a different situation. But getting back to the game,
right?
I don't think there's a coach in college football, aside from Brian Kelly, maybe, that needs a win more than Hugh Freeze. I could even argue, because Hugh Freeze is going to Baylor and Brian Kelly's going to Clemson, who people like myself have picked to win the national championship this year, I think you can readily make the case that Hugh Freeze is under the most pressure in the country to win, because if this doesn't look good, if it's not just a loss, let's say, if it looks bad, not necessarily them getting blown out, but let's say it's sloppy, it's the same sorts of problems that have plagued them over the last couple of years, I think Auburn fans are going to revolt, and I don't know that I'd be able to blame them.
I don't think it matters what it looks like. If you lose, it's going to be chaotic, and it's going to look bad, because I know you're picking Baylor, but I don't think you would push back on, like, you didn't push back when I said it a second ago. Like, Auburn has the better roster, right?
100%. Yeah. No, on paper, like, the talent is there to win the game.
Hugh Freeze, like, you can't hide behind it anymore if you lose. So 100%, 100%, and it's so big for Hugh Freeze and it's big for Auburn to win this game. Not because you're beating Baylor, but just because of what a loss could do to this program. I mean, you've stacked multiple, like, really, really elite recruiting classes and elite transfer portal classes to build a roster that you should feel like you can compete with and win with. And if you can't, what's the point? Like, why are we even doing this? So it'd be bad. And I don't want to downplay Baylor, because I think Baylor's a good team, but Auburn's not going to get this massive jump of approval because they went to Waco and won.
It's almost like, to me, and I want your thoughts on this, Hugh Freeze gets punished more with a loss than he gets credit for a win.
Yeah, I think that's a better way to say what I was trying to say. 100%.
Yeah. So something else I'd like your thoughts on here for this game before I get your pick.
What? So you've got Baylor. Like, what's your score here?
I think this is a low scoring game. I've been pretty consistent. Lower than most
people think too.
Yeah, the over under is 58.5 according to our friends at FanDuel, who are fantastic by the way. I'd say the under there feels pretty solid to me. Now that comes down to Baylor's defense, but that's Dave Aranda's calling card. That's his side of the ball. I think he'll have those guys as ready to go as he can be. I know you've got quarterbacks who aren't playing college football for the first time, but I think this is 27-20 Baylor, and I think you're well under that 58.5 number. That just wouldn't shock me. And
yeah,
maybe
my pick's been 27-17 Auburn. But yeah, so
I don't think it sniffs 58 points. I really don't. It would be exciting if it does, because I think that means you have a lot of back and forth. Offenses are clicking. That's always fun. But
sure,
maybe I'm reading too much into this next point that I wanted to raise. And sure. I just need to ask you, as someone who covers Auburn every single day, I think that's how we roll here at the Locked On Network.
Every day, your team.
Who's calling plays for the Tigers?
Yeah. I think it's Hugh Freeze. I know there's a lot made about.
You think, but you don't know.
I'm pretty confident. It's Hugh Freeze. So my theory on why they have to answer this weirdly, it goes back to when Auburn hired Derek Nix to be their offensive coordinator away from Ole Miss last offseason. And Lane Kiffin kind of fought it because in his contract language, Derek Nix's contract language with Ole Miss is you can't leave unless it's for a better job, which as a coordinator, you're almost assuming like you're leaving for a head coach, but he didn't call plays there. So Auburn's argument is, well, he's now calling plays for Auburn. And so, they made a clear point that he was calling plays last year. That's what he said. Anytime there was a chance for Hugh Freeze to publicly credit Derek Nix with a play call last year in postgame. He did it. I've had conversations with every single one of Auburn's quarterbacks that were on the roster last year, which none of them are now, which is kind of wild. But it was Hugh Freeze telling them what play to run.
Okay. That's one of several reasons that I've got pause on Auburn. Like, the mismatched and does that worry you at all?
No.
Okay.
No, because I don't think there are things that worry me about the offensive game plan. Who's calling the play is not a thing. So the tweets that went viral about that, I asked around, I think we're making a big deal out of nothing here. Everybody on staff has a guy that's over first down. They may not be calling it, but as far as the strategy of it, there's a guy that watches first down. There's a guy who watches third down. There's probably a guy that watches third and short, third and medium, third and long, and they all work together to make a play sheet. That's pretty standard. The way it was lined out in the tweets that went viral, I think were a little, I don't want to say misleading, but I do think it kind of, I don't know if it painted the full picture correctly based off of conversations that I've had.
Okay. Yeah. We'll see how it goes on Friday night in
Now, if you want to say
Waco.
has Hugh Freeze, has he put together game plans where he's lost to inferior opponents fairly consistently? That's the concern.
Watched it happen last year.
I don't think that's where I'm really concerned about this. Are you going to lay an egg like you did to New Mexico State or last year to Arkansas or Cal or Oklahoma throwing a pick six, or you have Mizzou right where you want them? It would have been a ranked win on the road and you fall apart in that final drive, or the 4th and 31 in the Iron Bowl, or your first year hosting Georgia. You're up in the fourth quarter and you let Brock Bowers do whatever you want. It's those things that give me concern. It's not who's calling plays.
High pressure in Waco on Friday night for the Auburn Tigers. They are the team covered by that man, Zac Blackerby of Locked On Auburn Tigers. That's today's show. I'll be back in your feed quicker than you can say college football. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. And until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.
Not down.
Oh my gosh, I have to leave that in now.